Hey, good morning, everybody. Uh, you know, after last night, we made a video, or whenever it was the last one we made. We had a little excitement. It wasn't intended, but um, power went out. I guess it's a good thing we closed up when we did. I don't think it was that long after we did the video because we were just sitting here and I was on Instagram uh, for a minute, and about that time, the power started acting all funny and it was going in and out. And then, of course, uh, still, I looked outside just to see if I could see anything, if there might have been somebody, you know, close by that might have hit something, or if I could see a power truck or something. Well, unbeknownst to me, there's it looked like a couple of jackasses out there, you know, uh, messing around and arguing, fussing. You could hear, even though I wasn't outside, you could hear yelling and stuff. And what was odd is actually when the power was out, you could actually see better when they cut the power back on, and you couldn't. After, of course, by that time all the action was over, but that's only probably about 10, 15 minutes worth or less, But uh, I told my wife. She came to the window and she saw what I was seeing. And this ain't our first rodeo with stuff out here like this, but you know, probably. Yeah, and well, my wife always assumed it's the closest person or people that's around, and I told her, I said, well, that could have been anybody too. It could have really been, somebody just out of town, and and it could have been somebody out of town coming in to see one of these boneheads appear or something. But I told her, I said, still, I would not go out there, at pitch black, dark, and you know, um, and I said we don't need to be attention whores out there at night. Because I like a little excitement every once in a while, but I not to this extent. I don't know if they got guns or knives or weapons, or So I told her it'd be best so we don't do that. And even if you know, when we called the 911, they were asking these questions, and I said, my wife's like, I don't know, you know. She's just like, get your butts out here, hurry up. So, and I mentioned when, I guess they heard what I said a little bit, but I couldn't help it. But I said, Lord, time you get off there, time she gets them called out here, or gets off there with you, they probably won't be out here. Well, so anyway, I guess they were busy, and I guess they couldn't find one, quick enough. Of course, that's what always seems to happen. Um, every time I've seen it, only a couple times, but this is like late. Uh, probably almost midnight or a little bit there, and that. So, you know, uh, what caught my eye was the car, you know, had stopped down there about where the cows were at, down there at the fence, and right where our driveway is at here in Decatur, and it was odd because I said they should keep going. I didn't know if I was going to try to pull in here, and me and my wife don't have anybody that we know that would be out that time of night. I mean, the only thing I would probably, if it was going to be something like that or anything like that, it'd probably be somebody, me and my wife had talked to them on some type of internet, or if there was somebody serious, and they had to come out that late, you know. But otherwise, like family or something, that's not going to happen, especially with, we don't get along, so there's no, nothing ever that late comes out. So, but other than what we hope for, I don't know, but yeah. So anyway, this came out, uh, and like I say, I don't know what it was over, but yeah, the cop finally he showed up. He was a nice one, but he come to the door. It's probably like 25, at least 25, 30 minutes after it's already done gone. And so I told him, I said, well, I told him what I could see, and described a little bit of what I could see. I could see the color of the car and nothing. I told him, I said, I could just see that there's headlights on. Uh, someone was getting out of the car down there and all that. Me and my wife, we might all check our trash can down there. Speaking of that,
Okay, getting a little bit.
they may have, I don't know what they done. But we have a trash can down there, so hopefully them jackasses didn't bother that. I didn't think about that last night. Because if they messed that up, I'm gonna get a hold of them. So hopefully they left well enough alone. Or they might be more has to come to this. I hope not. But anyway, yeah, we had that little bit. Told the police what I could see, and I pointed him down there toward the house where we had some trouble one time. It's probably some of them, you know, jerks. There's a neighbor that lives over there named Rachel, and her bunch of jerks and jackasses. We've had some problems out of them before. Uh, oh my, well, what used to be my grandmother, I just call her Gosper now. She's over there feeding them freaking animals treats and all this stuff. So, I told my grandmother, I said, well, at the time, I said, well, I would have, I wouldn't have sat there and waited till them people come out, even if they was hollering at me. I'd just fucking drove off. You know, no need to sit there and do that. And I said, man, if that woman came up to my window like that and the snotty attitude she had, I said I'd have chewed her ass out and then some. I said, she's lucky I wasn't in that driver's seat because it would have gotten a lot worse. I don't monkey around with this stuff. But much less was I going to just sit there and wait. So, you know me, I know what I'd do. And, no. But no, last night we had that little bit, but, that's kind of, it's unusual because usually there is cars go up and down the road, but usually not stopping directly at the stuff down there. And there's a road and there's car, could potentially be cars coming through. And one went around them. I don't know. I guess they didn't know the car and they didn't know what was going on. But uh, luckily somebody out here didn't get into it, and things didn't get worse. It was like at one point seemed like a second car. Seemed like there was somebody got into it. Like I said, but they went on down towards where the house was at that I mentioned earlier. That was basically it. I thought, and then the only thing I saw was that at the end of the day they had, I thought the cop had found him because we had called. It was probably 5 or 6 minutes afterwards. I thought, well, maybe that was a cop that scared them off because then they started running. They had started darting toward the Highway 30, and you know, up past that one's where you go up past that one woman's house or trailer with the one that had the little dogs, and so then I thought that might have been the cop, but it wasn't, and apparently it was just they got spooked because they might have thought it was a cop, but um, they took off. Well, because normally you don't see nothing, and I normally ain't one to look out, you know, and probably wouldn't have never knowed anything was happening. Now, I probably would have caught the tail end of it if I'd heard a bunch of yelling and screaming like I heard toward the end, but by that time, that would have not been enough time for waste any time to call anybody. But so just lucky I was the one who caught it because, like I told my wife, I said, they could have very easily come up through here and been somebody trying to break in. So I'm not usually one for calling the police, but for my safety and wife's safety and everything, I thought, well, because we're not that far from here. Now they'd have a hard time trying to get up this damn driveway, though. That's one thing. They'd probably broke their ankles and stuff trying to get up through here. It's not comfortable walking up here. So, we just had that. They just paved that road a little bit, blacktopped it. So, we've had a little excitement, but otherwise nothing major. The Braves won last night 5-2. So we got our win back. Seemed like we win one, we lose one. That's been that's kind of been the trend. Although the Reds, I think we won. Was it two of them? Maybe 2 out of 3. I think, but it seemed like we win one, we lose one. But when we're talking about the California teams, they're usually a little bit tougher. So anytime you can win one, from California, one of the Padres, that's who we're playing. But yeah, normally I don't stay up to watch those California teams, but you don't really have much to do and much else to do. So we were making a video for one thing, so it kind of helped to stay up a little bit. But no, that's about all of our excitement. I told my wife, I said, well, did that video kind of help you last night? She said, yeah, it helped me some. It probably won't cure everything, but we tried to, tried to make an all-in-one about it because I know some people might come out and say, well, I've never heard of it or didn't know this person exists. Well, I didn't either. If you'd have pointed me out to anybody out here, I'd probably, I've had people, strangely enough, I've had somebody say, oh, I remember when, you were like this or that or something, or, and I couldn't tell you if I went to their house or not most of the time because that's how little I was out. I wasn't out at very many houses. And, my mom's side probably watched me a couple of times as a kid. That's, not really enough. I'm in the Granny Diane's and some of that. I could tell you they watch me a lot, but certain people, and then the family that just every now and again that you didn't see them that much. I didn't hardly remember anything or any memories. But actually, the last it wasn't one of the last. Well, it was close to one of the last times. I also met my mom's kin off there, and she'd had a daughter, and I was supposed to go play. I was supposed to go go watch, a softball game one time, and so I was on. I guess I was on Facebook, I guess, or something. I can't remember. It's one of the sites. It's when I had my phone. I believe it was my phone, the little bitty one. I and I had internet on it, and lo and behold, I thought I recognized somebody in it, or I don't know. I just thought something seemed odd, and that I might recognize this person. Well, she says, "Well, I'm so and so," and at that time didn't know exactly it. I thought maybe there might be a chance, something I don't know. But as I got to find out, this person, I did have a little bit of a thing in there, that I'd met her, and then so we got to talking anyway, and the whole deal was basically that this person, uh, you know, and the basis for this story is you just can't trust anybody anymore. And this was still around 2008, 2009, I'd guess. This person might not even be, alive now, but or who knows. But you know, she had got talking, and we was catching up, about what I was doing. I was still working at the time. I was working at Sonic, and so or had just gotten. I may have been working at Sonic. I may have actually been, depending on the time frame. I may have actually just quit Sonic. I don't remember. But anyway, her daughter Brittany was supposed to have a softball game, and after we had talked, she let into wanting to do things, come around or whatever. And after we got through, doing our talking, so she let into talking to me about this baseball or softball game. Phew, oh my god! And and it was right up here at the not the high school, but the middle school. I reckon where it was at, and she was telling me about it, and was going to come and pick me up, and supposed to take me up there. Well, she tells me, and I've told my mom this story years ago. It's been over 10 years ago, but anyway, yeah, it was kind of odd, I go and um, I go and get ready, get all dressed up, put the smelly stuff on, and all the good stuff, get all ready. I don't dress up like dress clothes, but I had an outfit picked out. I don't even remember now exactly what it might have been. Uh, you know, but I only have about 3 or 4 different outfits that I like to put on something themed like it's either a wrestling shirt or maybe it might be a Tennessee shirt since I've lived here a good portion of my life. It might be NASCAR. I had some 1 or 2 NASCAR shirts, but no. So I picked out something, and I was all ready to go. Did all my stuff. Took my shower that day, and lo and behold, it was getting close to time, and she said she's going to be there. Well, she tells me, Angie does, says, you know, uh, you know, that day, she. I don't remember if I called her that day or if it's just by text. She said something about coming around about 7 o'clock or 6:30 or something like that. Now, so anyway, I got ready and done all the things I need to do on my end. So I waited around, and so about that time, I just think to call her. I thought, well, heck, she ain't answering my text. So heck, I'll call her. So about that time, I call her and I hear all this noise and all that stuff, and I could tell it was they were at the softball game, and so I said, well, why didn't you come by and pick me up as you promised? She says, oh, I had to take laundry to do, now how she does her laundry, I don't know. So, but she may go to, my dad sometimes used to go to those places where you dry your clothes and stuff, the cleaners.
I may go check that trash can.
Yeah, you might ought to.
It might not have done nothing to it. Oh,
Well,
kick Damien's ass.
Well, it may not be who you think. I'm just saying that whoever was down there, hopefully they didn't do anything with it. 'Cause,
Make sure they didn't do nothing in my mailbox either.
uh,
Check my mailbox too, just in case. I have to take pictures of proof that they did some damage. Because when I caught some bleedings, I have proof.
but yeah. So anyway, I was I called her. I was hearing all this stuff in the background, and this is a person that's supposed to be family to me. It's what hurts. I was going to get to see her daughter play softball. I hadn't been to a baseball game or softball game or anything at this point in a long time. So I was really looking forward to it, And so, anyway, so I could hear all this commotion in the background. I could tell they were at the ball game. And so Angie answered the phone, and I said, why didn't you come by and pick me up? And she says, well, I had laundry or had this, I had, and like I said, I don't know if she had it at home or she went to a dry cleaner place or whatever you call them places, laundromat. But because I can't remember, it's been a while, so I don't remember if she said she's at home doing it or whatever. But I was like, you couldn't swing by there. I mean, it's not even 5 minutes from where the softball game's at. But yet she could take her daughter to the softball game. And now I tell you, I told her, I said, I'll tell you this, I'm done. I don't trust anything you tell me anymore. And I told her, look, I don't remember what all I said, but that was the basis of it. I was upset because, I know I've talked a lot about, a certain person, and we did a whole video last night. So it won't be having to go back over that, whole thing. But, I've had many people, this, whether it be family, whether it be whatever. So that, we had hoped, and I had hoped, that me and my wife would find something. And, something we can trust, somebody we could do something with, and have the relationship with them and get to know them. And it's somebody that, we could, my wife had asked me, last night, she said, Derek, do you think there's a way we could do some meditating or kind of have a thing where, we could kind of sense, because I did a name and popped in my head one time when I was not knowing what the name Jessica meant. I kind of met my wife kind of doing this, praying, all this stuff. And, my wife come to me, so I don't know, but, I've seen, the name Lindsay flash in my head, kind of visually photo like, in my head, where I could see it. I don't know if that's a sign of anything or not. If that's, I don't know what that name means, but maybe that's a good sign. But no, I did it last night after I found. See, I don't sleep real good, but I toss and turn, and at one point I did sleep. You know, uh, some. I had to find my comfy spot. I'm not the best at that. When sleeping when I don't have my comfy spot. So sometimes it takes me a while, and if I'm tired, but if I'm tired enough, I'll lay down.
The cop left a note in the mailbox. Mailbox. There was weapons inside the mailbox with a note on it saying something about killing me, and they wrote it in big letters. And he said not to touch it. That it's sitting on the side of the mailbox. He's got to come back and get it. He said, "Don't touch them.
Yeah,
Don't touch them." So
yeah.
I didn't touch. But he's letting us know that they're coming back and getting it. It said something about killing.
Well, a cop wouldn't have left a note like that. It was probably them. They probably saw that too, and probably gonna have to. Well, see, that's why I don't. See, that's why I try to tell my wife we don't need to be creating attention because then that'll divert them toward us, and I don't have time to, you know. Now, if I was doing just
No, he wrote a note saying he found it. He found it.
found what,
The note in the box with the weapons. He's got to come back and get them.
well, they wouldn't. They wouldn't be it. They wouldn't be. Well, like I said, I ain't no.
He didn't. He said he didn't want to wake us up. Come back up here and wake us up.
If there was something like that down there, they would have gotten that already. Um,
But it did say something about. He said there was something about killing. So he said he took the note and he's going to come back and get the.
they might have. That sounds kind of sounds, like it's just one of them. Like I said, I don't know why these people do that, but it kind of just sound like because I'm trying to picture, this whole deal, and but that's why see, I didn't want her to go down there or me or anything. Because, like I said, if it'd been somebody I knew what I was dealing with, I'd probably confront them straight up. But not taking a chance on somebody having weapons or something, you know, and such. So I did my
That's a good thing you told me not to go up
I did
there.
my looking out, up here. Well, I mean, they could have.
Damien came down and said, "It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Please don't think it was me." He's like shaking. I'm like, "I'm not going to yell at
Well,
you."
I told my wife just because she thinks it's one of these out here, it could have just been somebody that one of these other people knew that came from out of town, which is why I tried to tell her because there was a time when I came home one time, and I've told this one, but I came home from the dentist appointment and I saw some action that day, but again, it's all about the timing and just the thing that happened last night that got me to go out to look out or to go look out the window to see if there was anything I
I
could
told
see.
him my husband, he said he was at work.
But
So I know
well,
it wasn't him.
I know it's too late for anybody to
Yeah,
be out doing that.
yeah.
So anyway, my wife said it looked like there was a note or something. Maybe they didn't want it touched because they was gonna come back and do pictures. I don't know if they stuffed something in there or if they just goofed. They were getting out of the car. That's all I know. But I didn't want my wife and I to go down there. But anyway, yeah. So I told back to the story I'm going to tell you, but so no, whether it's been family, whether it's been friends, I've given it all up because you can't trust them. So I was hoping that maybe me and my wife, you know, would find something. But no, for some reason this word Lindsay, name Lindsay, kept popping up in my head. I don't know if she'd be out here YouTube or what, but for some reason or another, Lindsay still pops in my head ever since my wife said, you know, and I could say I did that with the name Jessica, and I said it out loud and I prayed for it, and I remember, because I'm not that big of a religious person, but I was going to some church stuff then, and I got back into doing some stuff, and and I thought, man, uh, for some reason, I just that came to my mind at the time, and it took a year and a half or so, but it was worth the wait. But again, I don't know. Uh, I didn't really know what it would lead to. I was an outsider for the most part. I wasn't one of those that gets a lot of attention, or like my wife, where she'd been traveling and where she'd been around some stuff that I haven't or hadn't had a chance to go to. But it is what it is. Uh, but if there's somebody named Lindsay out here, and it was to be somebody that you know if they're if our names popped in their head, or or it just may be, I don't know, but I can visualize his name, as I'm speaking now, but I don't know why, you know. Uh, but if she's out there, she'll know who she is. So anyway, hopefully we'll find something soon. Get me and my wife out of this hole we got dug in, accidentally, got dug in here. Uh, our driveway and everything's like a piece of crap anyway. um, it's not a good place to be. As I said, that's why a large portion of what the video was about, the one that we talked about last night, she didn't find this place too thrilling either, and I can agree with that. It's not going to be. It's not meant to be uh, thrilling. But that's why I said, had a had that one, had something like some music in common. And, had there been some stuff, better put, better, you know, better suited for us, and things that were actually, in common with each other. That's why you don't take opposites attract and try to make them home and all that. Just to bottom line that, because it's like, you know, not many people reach out there like me and my wife, and you know, it's just it is what it is. What it is. It was what it was. But I'm hoping if it's named Lindsay is any indication, I hope that she gets this video, and I hope that she watches it. And, my wife, she's outside, but I'm hoping that me and my wife can find that special lady, uh, you know, and hopefully she's out there somewhere, and that we can be one big family, and go get to do some fun things. Hopefully she'll have our music or something in common with us, and hopefully this person be like my wife, and be like like we envisioned, you know, like my wife and I envisioned something that we can see ourselves doing, you know, being happy with, somebody in their 20s and 30s or something, and, have a long life with them, and, you know, get out of this place. I know a lot of people probably that views these videos don't know me or don't know my wife, but, we have a lot of hard times uh, that's come our way. Not the worst, but definitely rough. You know, barely getting by kind of times. At times, and we've had times where oh, excuse me, hang on a minute. Oh man, I knew I had to sneeze. I saw I was waiting. Um, but anyway, and we like everybody. We've had some tough ones. You know, like I said, not the roughest of the rough, but definitely some hard times. With what we were presented and what was supposed to be a part of our lives. I know family sometimes can be a double-edged sword. Sometimes it can be a blessing, and that can be what you can always rely on and count on. But me and my wife's case, it's not that way. I mean, I could count on my dad for anything. My dad, if he were here, he always had you in a good mood. And, like my wife was talking about earlier, Papa Dan, never had no issue with him. He was always Papa Dan. But, you know, the rest of the family and my family just, it is what it was. And it is what it is, and it was what it was, but I got to the point where I just said, it's just not fun anymore. I'm not having fun. My wife's not having any fun with them. A lot of times people get, that's what I like to call when people get old and they get, you know, setting in their ways or they don't like it. Used to, I would hear it at times, if I went out and got a job or if I went out and tried to, if I was out, going to try to go out and go somewhere, if I wanted to go. Used to, I wouldn't even have to ask, and they would take me places, my brother places, and all that stuff. When as kids, you didn't have to ask, but it was like, the older my family got, the worse everybody got, and the smallest things could be like talk of the town between, my family up here and all this stuff. And ever since my mother moved up here, she's been what I would have expected. She uh, nobody knows her better than me and my brother and people that's been around her a lot. I had to cut this stuff out because like you know my mom and them, she's been married for a long time, and like I said, there'd been times where she at one time, you know, was kind of in a mess with Oscar and and all that stuff. And I told her then, I said, well, I don't think I can have you move up here, you know. And I told her I didn't really want to get into all that, whatever that was that day when they got into it. I called her just and and they used to we talked on the phone and stuff, but you know, like I said, my mom has had her issues with me, and she's tried to use the God stuff on me, and she'll wait for 5 years and say, but she half heartedly, blames any part of it on herself. She just blames it all on me, like I'm the cause of all the problem, And a large portion of the deal is it's sort of mostly her than it more is me because you know, uh, the last time I had dealings or try to do something nice for my mom, she wouldn't call or text me or tell me nothing. I asked her, I was just out walking with my wife and thought, well, I'll take a trip up there. Normally she's always home, so I never thought nothing about her not being home. And so I walk up there and you know, and I didn't see nothing. So I sit up there a little while and seen if I thought maybe she was just, you know, busy or something and just hadn't got come out. So I sat there for a few minutes just to give her some time. I thought maybe she's just busy. Come find out she wasn't there, and so I went back home and just I thought, well, what are we gonna do? What step do we need to take? My wife was panicking and thought something was wrong with my mom, and so at that time that's what I thought. I can't remember exactly what day this was on. It's probably a Wednesday or Thursday or something. It's one of them days where we had, money, I think, on us, and we went shopping. And I thought, well, I'll swing by. I feel good. I'm in one of my rare moods. I feel like walking. I probably could walk 10, 15, 20, 50 miles that day. I don't know what I walked, but I walked all over town that day. I walked from here where I'm at to down at the store, and that's not counting going to the stores next to us. I went over there to the Dollar Tree. I went to several places, and we'd sit down in the pig that day, and I was trying to tell my mom, hey, I felt like doing something. I was going to come by. If she was home, I said I'm going to come by and see her. Well, and then that's where it takes you up to where I went home. I went home. After she didn't answer, I thought, well, I'll go by there and check anyhow and see if it says she's all right. I thought maybe something might be wrong. Well, so then I come find out she just and again, it was not like it wasn't like a life or death emergency that came up, but she because it wasn't like somebody died, but Oscar had somebody who at the time he was seeing. I went to go see at I guess it's a nursing home, is what I remember. That was said to me, and so I found that out after we called the police just to do a well check, see if you know, see if they could find out. So about the time we sat there for a couple of minutes, and the cop said, "Well, we'll just sit here and see if anybody pulls in." So about a couple of minutes, not probably even 5 minutes, uh, they come home, and of course, my mom didn't talk to me. Oscar did. Oscar came out, and I spoke to him. Because I wanted to know what the deal was, and because I was a little upset because I knew she was probably upset that we'd called, but I explained to Oscar. It's like, you know, um, I this was July. This was July of 2019, by the way. So I had told him. I said, well, I let him know I was concerned. I thought something might have been wrong. So I told him, I said, yeah, we was up here for a few minutes, up here for a while. And I told him that we went home and thought, something might be wrong. So I thought, I'd call and see about, checking up on her. He didn't have a problem with me or anything with it. It's just, I don't know what he told the cop when he went up there and was talking to the call him about it. But he said what it was is they went to the nursing home, and somebody was in the nursing home or whatever, and that they went to go see somebody that he knew or whatever, and I told him, and I was nice about it, and I told him, I said, well, I don't understand why she couldn't have texted me something back, at least a yes or a no. I said she wouldn't have had to talk, she wouldn't have had to call me or write me a long text. I said she could have texted me a yes or no, or in most cases, almost in all cases, when she texts me or one of her kids, she'll always, well, if it's your son's, she'll always put, like, even if she says I love you, she'll say I love you, son. Uh, yes, son. No, son. I could see that, because that was typical of my mother. But you know, um, you know, I, you know, I told Oscar. She said, "Well, when he told me that, I said, well, I'm pretty upset about it, because I'm her son. I'm not a stranger. She treated me like I was like a stranger or something. Said she didn't feel like texting her. I said, oh gosh. I think that was mainly her excuse. I said, well, Lord, it wouldn't. I said, or and I didn't have Oscar's number. Or I tried to, or I would have maybe texted him, but I always flew with my mom. I never, ever hardly ever talked to Oscar on his phone or anything. I may have once or twice text him, but it wasn't, like I had his number all the time. I think, maybe like I said, once or twice briefly. Oh,
Your name is.
but
He was apologizing to me.
but anyway, and since the last time I flew with any of that stuff 3 years ago, the ending of it, my mother, I told Oscar, so well, I'm gonna I'm gonna call this, I was 35 then. I told him, I said, look, I'm 35 years old. I'm not a stranger. I'm not somebody uh, who she don't know, and to be treated like that, it was a small something, but you have to understand, my mom had been doing me like this for years, ever since I've been born. Off and on, she'd have one of her moments, and she would be one of these kind of people uh, that would promise you to throw you a birthday party, but didn't turn around and on purpose, say she didn't want to do it then, or don't want to do it now, or don't want to do it at all. Sometimes we might come to a mutual agreement, and she would keep her promise. And one time it was mine and my stepsister's turn together. It wasn't my idea, but I had to go with the flow and try to make the best out of that as I possibly could. I would have preferred to not have had my stepsisters on the same day as my birthday, but anyway, hers is a little bit after mine. But I, it's this is just how people treated me and my wife all these years. This was before my wife showed up. Some of these stories are, but it's just an illustration of what we go through. A lot of people take it for granted what they do or don't have. And if you do have something, like I said, that's great. That's why, like I said, we did a video on somebody last night that we had a couple of weeks with, and it's like a tornado come through here. So like I said, uh, it's just it depends on who it is and what it is and what's been offered as to whether or not we'll take it. I don't want to take something less than what me and my wife wants because I've done everything what everybody wants. I've been in, and I've been on, and way before my wife ever married me, I've been accused of just things that, oh, the people that they supposedly they wanted to come up there and all that stuff. When I lived up at my grandmother's for the longest time, oh, that's why we couldn't have nobody because he won't come out and talk to them. And what do you want me to say to him? You know what I'm saying? I was a kid then. Like I said, if they would have came in there and probably said hi or something, and they just probably waved and went on. I mean, I can't tell you, uh, how much, in 10 years, about 12, actually, at about 12 years' time, you know, it was getting to be different, and, things were pretty rough. And so, it's just kind of a continuation of these kind of things keep happening, and my wife's like, why can't something good happen? I wish it would. Like I said earlier, I don't know why, but when she said something about it, you know, something, meditation or whatever it was, last night, kind of like, thinking in the back of her mind, like I said on this video, for some reason the female named Lindsay keep popping in my head. I don't know. I said, I don't know. I did that with my wife's name, Jessica. I didn't know what that meant. She told me later what it meant. So, maybe, like I said, maybe there's something there. Maybe it's just nothing, but I don't know. It's kind of, like I asked one time Dr. Chin said it's called photosynthesis. And he knows a lot about a lot of stuff. He's a pretty good doctor. He's all the way in he's born in China, but he come all the way down here. And he knew some of that mixed martial arts stuff. I forget what it was he knew. But he was my doctor for the longest time. He'd go all the way down to Chattanooga. So now I'm going up here to in Athens, going to a different doctor. He retired and everything, but no, just thought kind of illustrate a few things, and we may, to most people, may sound like we're, not telling everything is factual and everything. Maybe some people who's not been in their shoes or don't know how they feel and don't know what it's like not to have the support system that you hope for. And, it's different for everybody. And like I said, a lot of times, I bet I could speak for most people. They probably know this feeling too about how family seems to support you for a good while, and then once they get tired of you, you have to move on. You have to move on and find something else. And I remember telling, finish up about the story from 3 years ago. When I told Oscar what I had to tell him, I got home and my wife and I was just sitting here, and all of a sudden she's getting texts, I'm getting calls. Of course, I didn't want to answer because I knew she'd be fired up. I know my mom better than just about anybody, and she gets, and even though, like I said, I knew because I've dealt with her many times. One time, she blew up over something that someone called her and told her, some stuff about me and my wife's stuff down there at the grocery store one time, and my brother should have just kept his mouth shut. I don't know how it got to him. I think Danny, at the time, I think that's what happened. Danny told him or something. I told Danny, I said, you should have not done that. Because I said, I told him what happened, and I said, my dad don't normally do that, but it was kind of, one of those deals, And, my brother's like, well, I depend on the situation, how it was. I don't know what I'd have done. I said, well, my mom wouldn't take the hints. Just go on home, get out. Yeah, she wouldn't call the police that night. Uh, and I was trying to get her to leave, but she forced me to do something I didn't want to do, and it ended up a little bit ugly than I intended. I mean, for the longest time we had a shouting match, and she got mad at something I said, and then started hitting my hands and stuff. So I got back at her and just grabbed her enough on her arm to apply a little pressure, and she, ow! And I said, well, you should have left. You know, better, you should have left. Left the house. Was basically what I would tell everybody, and I told Danny to when he came back and he checked up on me. Uh, I told him, I said, you gotta be careful what you tell. I said, and my wife, she didn't mean any harm by it. It's just, and it didn't even bother me. And then, 3 or 4 months after the fact, and we was having a good old Easter thing over at the church that night. I was sitting there, when I got home, I was watching I just bought the WrestleMania DVD thing. I remember it was WrestleMania 28 with Taker and Triple H and Hell in Cell. And I was watching DVD, and all of a sudden I get this knock on the door. And, she comes to the door, and she's all happy and smiley, puts on the little front, as I recall. Like, it's kind of like the stuff we talked about last night, they put on fronts. Well, my mom put on front. And then about less than 5 minutes later, she said, oh, we got to sit down. We got to talk about something. So I'm dreading it, and the whole 9 yards. And, of course, because it's late, because nobody usually comes late at night. And so, as it turned out, like I said, it didn't turn out too good. And I've been over backwards trying to, put up with my mom's stuff all the time and trying to, you know, uh, do all this stuff, trying to, do what people want, and one time, a couple of times, in recent years, they want to do things, birthday parties, and different things. The last couple of times I did stuff, I tried to go and see, and I'd have a good time, but it's just, it's not comfortable, being around, especially stepsister, the brat, as I like to call her. It's my mama always tried to force that down my throat and my brother's throat half the time. I recall, many times I would say, "Man, if that wasn't down here and didn't have to have that down here, me and Danny and Darren could have had a lot better, time down at them malls, and we could have went places without. We didn't need her. She was just extra baggage in a way. She just didn't get along with anything. She didn't like. She's kind of like what we talked about last night about people being backwards. They didn't have anything in common. And no matter what you did, you couldn't. This person just wasn't. This at the time she was a kid, but she's always been backwards. But no, so I ended the night 3 years ago. I ended on saying, I wasn't going to answer the phone. My wife texted my mom about 2 hours. What seemed like 2 hours. It might have been less, but it was a while back and forth, and she's saying a whole bunch of stuff. Wanting to, I reckon, try to make things right or make it up or whatever. And I just said, man, I'm 35 years old. I can, my mama, for one thing, the other thing, she went to one of these psychic people, and they had told her she wouldn't live to see her kids graduate. Well, she's seen me graduate. She's seen Darren graduate. She's seen the little brat graduate. She saw Sean graduate. So that psychic was wrong. And what that was all about is because she drinks or had smoked a lot and done some stuff. So I guess the psychic was reading into that, and just to prove to you, these psychics don't know what they're talking about. I mean, I used to see them on TV a lot, you know, and think people's kind of gotten the whiff that those people aren't as psychic as they claim to be. You know, they're not to be trusted. But so I said my mom's too mean to die early anyway. You know, she's not. It's just like I said though. This is just some illustrations of what me and my wife have put up with, and I put up with my whole life. I know. Like I said, you take the first 20 years of my life, I didn't have much of any problems. I'd have the occasional something come up, but it wasn't to the extent of these kind of stories. But, as I got older, about 22 on up, I've had it kind of rough uh, with just my family. My wife's is the same kind of stuff. Just it's just more aggravation. That came up. On both ends. So that's why we're sitting here. We came up with this, stuff, and I came up with it, mainly me. And I thought, it'd be kind of neat, wife had something in common with somebody we didn't know, and get to know them, and just start over. It's not as easy as it sounds, but we just still had to hope. Maybe one day soon they'll change. Again, there's no guarantees or promises, but for guys, hope for the best. It's kind of like sometimes as people say, well, you don't always get what you want. Well, it might be true here too, but I can't tell you how many times me and her sit here and just mind her own business, and things will happen that you don't ever intend on. She got up today, asked me, well, what we're going to do today? We're going to do anything fun? And I said, not that I know of, not anything that I know of. And so, we just, have to do what we have to do. But I think we play again tonight. Probably another late game. Probably around 9:30 again. But yeah, so far so good for the Braves. Hopefully we'll do pretty good. I won't say I'm sensing the World Series again this year, but or championship. But hey, if we do good, that's all that matters. I ain't gonna win them all the time. It'd be nice to repeat. But, well, I'll have to see how it rolls. But anyway, wow, I've been on here an hour. You want to talk about some stuff, honey? I don't. Okay. I didn't realize that. I get going. I get started. Anyway, we'll see you later.